Okay, Biomed, we are up to lesson 4.2.1 in the PLTW curriculum, and this particular lesson is about heart rate. And so there are two parts to the lesson, and so I'm going to make two videos. The first part of the lesson is about how to take your pulse and ways that PLTW wants you to take it with the Vernier software. So I'm set up here. I got the slide that you guys are going to have access to ready to go. So if you need help with the slide, again, you can refer to these videos and we'll try to get you through it the best that we can. So the first thing it's going to ask you to do is just take a look at Anna's medical history document. When she was 37, she went to the doctor. She had a full cardiac workup because she was having pains in her chest. The workup included some blood work, medical tests, diagnostics, and this is something we're going to come back to at the end of the unit when you guys do another autopsy report. But as the camera zooms in here, I want you to kind of look at what are some things that we can deduce from this right away. And particularly since this is our heart disease unit, we're looking at heart-related things. And two things that should stick out to you are blood pressure is 140/72, which is pretty high, even for someone that's 37 years old. And pulse is 98 beats per minute. Even if this is your first time through in Biomed, you should know this from phys ed. We talk about this all the time, what your resting heart rate should be. 98 is pretty quick. So those are two things that definitely should jump out at you right off the bat. Okay. The second part is taking your pulse. So you're going to do manual calculations for your beats per minute. And there's a lot of ways to do it. Okay. PLTW wants you to count your heartbeats for 30 seconds and then double them. You can count them for 6 seconds and just add a 0, which would be multiplying times 10, or you could set a timer for a full minute and count them all. The advantage to counting them for a longer duration of time is it's probably going to be more accurate. And so PLTW wants you to do 30 seconds. So you could do it on your phone. I got a YouTube timer set for 30 seconds. And so once you find your pulse, you'll start the timer and you count the beats. So there's a couple things that they want you to be aware of. Number one, radial pulse. The radius is the thumb side of your forearm. Okay, so the radial pulse. So when you use your index and middle finger to find the pulse, and I got it, it's pretty easy to find. Okay, you never want to use your thumb. There's a major, well, I wouldn't say it's major, but there's an artery that's strong enough to create its own pulse. And so it will give you multiple beats when you're on another vessel. So you want index finger, middle finger on your radial pulse. Okay, so they want you to find that. If you had an infant or a baby and you're trying to find a pulse in a small child, you would go all the way up the brachial, which is high up in the armpit, or femoral, which is again higher up on your leg. Okay, to count the beats, I'm going to actually use the carotid pulse. So it's right up top of your neck, right next to your windpipe. You don't have to press real hard. The harder you press, the harder it's going to be to find. And yep, turns out I'm still alive. All right, so once I get it comfortable, I'm going to come over here to my timer. I'll go lefty. Okay, so the time's up. I counted 35 beats in 30 seconds. Multiply that times 2. That would give me 70 beats per minute. So on the dock, I gave you a little chart over here, and this you would just enter that in, 70 beats per minute. They want you to do this 3 times, and then take an average. It changes. There's a lot of things that affect resting heart rate. Okay, so it happens to change. And so they definitely want you to get an average, so do that and record your data. Now, in PLTW, you know how they love Logger Pro software. And so what I did was I opened Logger Pro, same way we did other labs when we were trying to measure data. Open the physiology link, and then there's a heart rate program in here. And you can see up here, it's heart rate versus time, and then these are actual heartbeats. And then this is what's over seconds. It's going to tell you what your heart rate is. Okay, so I have my goal link set up. I have my sensors that are hooked to Bluetooth that connect right here. So it's kind of a little wireless system. And what they want you to do is put your palms on the metal the same way you would at the fitness center when you're using like the ellipticals or the treadmills. Okay, once you got a firm grasp on that, you make sure you adjust your time to, see it says 600 seconds here. I don't want 600 seconds, I want 60 seconds, and this is not the right, something's not right here. So we're gonna go back to heart rate vital sign and make sure we got the right thing here. Here we go, and boom, it should be 60 seconds. Okay, done, now we're set up. And you collect, and what it'll do is it won't start for about 15 seconds. So I hit collect, it says it's waiting for data, but you can see in the bottom, it's measuring my heart rate. Those are my actual beats, my pulses. Now 60 seconds are up, and you can see that my heart rate started up around 87, 79, and it came down to where it was when I tested it manually. Could be because I'm talking, demonstrating, trying to get through this without messing up the words or so much. But what you want to do here is you want to copy and paste this data into this sheet. Okay, later, and you'll see what I mean. But basically, you can right click any of these things and you can copy them and paste them right onto a slide. It's a piece of cake, and then reshape them once around there. And we'll talk about that a little bit more when we get to the experiment part. So we're going to focus in on this slide now. And so after you take it, I did the vernier as a demonstration. You're going to check PLTW, and you're going to define blood pressure. Okay, blood pressure. And so in the PLTW website, blood pressure. Let's see if I can find it real quick. Just highlight it. Basically, pressure exerted by the blood upon the walls of the blood vessels, especially arteries, usually measured by means of I can't pronounce it, sphygmomanometer, which is the thing that the doctors put in their ear and then they put it on your arm. And it's expressed in millimeters of mercury. Okay, so you put that in there. And basically, heart rate using probes. Here it is right here. All you're going to put here, all you would do here is put that data that I copied. And so now I'm going to paste it. All right, there's my heartbeats. Okay, I'll reshape it a little bit. Go back to the Logger Pro. Take this one, copy it. Put it right on here as well. It's probably going to paste right over the top of it. That's okay. And make it as small as I want. And I would have it on there. And then I would go back and just get that last chart. And again, slides is super easy to do this stuff on. And that pasted like crap. So there was a trick for that. I think you have to insert a table. Or you can copy and just paste the data yourself. So I would clean that up, and by the time you guys open this slide to see this, it will be cleaned up, so just so you know. All right, so that's the first part of the lesson. So I'm gonna check out here, and then there'll be another video for the experiment.